But before we talk about the Super Bowl and you make your predictions, Sharona, tell me about the craziness with the Deflategate and how this is taken away from the game.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight. You have to wonder what kind of distraction that is going to be, and what the Patriots, because they're having to deal with a lot of things that ordinarily teams don't necessarily have to deal with. Now the Seahawks have their injury situation, but the thing about Deflategate, Ballghazi, whatever you want to call it, is that it's so overblown. You can easily tell when things like this go down who played sports and who didn't play sports, and I think it's a far bigger deal for people who aren't familiar with the people who have to handle the ball a lot. They're particular about their balls, man. I'm telling you, and that's across all sports. Now, I didn't play soccer, so I don't know to what extent it may or may not be in soccer, but I can tell you that it's definitely a thing in other sports.
Right, but I mean, I don't know if it was just the media. It was just so sensationalized by everyone. It's like, I mean,
well,
I hate to say this. I will say this. I know this is not a political show, but a week ago, people were talking about ISIS. People were talking about, here's the catastrophes that are going on in the world, and here's the Deflategate. So, what's your take on that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that we're so driven, first of all, by manufactured outrage and clicks, and I think that there is unfortunately a mindset that what people click on is what the media should be all about. It's kind of a shame, I think, to see how how reporting has changed a little bit that way, if you can call it that. But I think that ultimately it's going to come down to, regardless of what comes down with the NFL, and it looks like this poor equipment manager may end up taking the fall for what went down. But what they say, poop rolls downhill, right? I think that's the old saying. Yeah. So, but ultimately, it's going to come. On Sunday, it's going to come down to the play on the field and all these. And frankly, what the public talks about and reads about and talks about, tweets about, what Facebook's about, what have you. That's not what these guys are concerned about. They're concerned about having to deal with it because it's they get tired of having to deal with the same old stuff over and over again when it doesn't, have much bearing on the game. But beyond that, it's going to come down to the play on Sunday, and at that point, except for the people who care about that stuff, it's going to all go away.
I have to interject here, Sharona, and say, okay, there was something I noticed. I went to a conference about a year or so ago. It was National Association of Black Journalists, and they, during the conference, they were talking about the shift, not only the digital shift and how news is being reported, but overall with bloggers being kind of certified. So where journalists years ago, there was a code of conduct and everything else that happens. Nowadays, they can't get the information out as quick enough as the bloggers. And the bloggers, there's no fact checking, there's no nothing. It's just here's the latest. Here's the latest information. And
I think that it's driving a real trend in a lack of fact checking.
You're right. So I mean, is it safe to say, though, as of Tuesday night, it's safe to say that the ball boy is going to take the fall, and it's like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Poor ball boy. Poor ball boy. You know.
You know, he's
I mean,
going to go down in history.
There's nothing some media members love more than a good witch hunt.
Yes. But along with that, there's going to be a great game that's going to be played on Sunday.
I really do think it's going to be a good game. I think these two teams are very well matched.
I hope so. I just don't want to see something like last year. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, that was no fun. That was not a good Super Bowl.
Sharona, I got to tell you, I had so much food here, and the folks that were here that came over to watch the Super Bowl, and it's like by the end of the first quarter, it was over.
Yeah. I think one of the funniest comments I've read, and I forget where I read this, but it was a Denver Broncos fan. It was on social media. Might have been Twitter. I can't remember, but they said they knew that it was over as soon as, because they're a long-time Denver Broncos fan.
Yes.
And he said that he knew that the game was over as soon as the initial snap sailed over Peyton Manning's head. He was like, oh, it's going to be one of these Super Bowls. Because obviously the Denver Broncos have made a lot of appearances, a lot more than many teams, and I thought that was kind of funny. And, and that did sort of portend what we were going to see in the game.
Yes, it really did. So I guess we've held off long enough for me to ask you. Not only I not only want picks from you, but I want a score. I want a score.
Okay.
So if you could provide who's going to win and give me an overall score.
Well, I think that I think it's very, very, very difficult for a team. Obviously, I mean the facts speak volumes. It's incredibly difficult to repeat as a Super Bowl champion. If any team can do it, I do think that the Seattle Seahawks can do it. But I think the Patriots are going to win this game. I think they're just a little bit. Which, with the distraction thing, who knows? Although distraction can be very much overblown. But I just think that the Patriots, my gut tells me that the Patriots are going to win this. I don't think that it's going to be a very high-scoring football game. I expect it to be, I think maybe a 5-point game. And, like I said, not a very high-scoring game. I would say Patriots 28, Seattle 23.
Okay.
23-24, something like that.
And I guess my last question would be, and who's going to be the MVP?
I'm kind of rooting for an underdog, and kind of like what we saw last year, right?
Yes.
I do feel like if Seattle, if they can get their very excellent run game going, Russell Wilson can be protective of the football. If Seattle does win this, I think it's because Marshawn Lynch does have either Marshawn Lynch and or Russell Wilson both have big games. Although you can't discount their defense scoring. So we'll see about that. But if it's the Patriots, I really hope that it's some name that we haven't heard of or something like that. But I very much fear that it's going to be Tom Brady because, all attention goes to the quarterback, right? Quarterbacks are the stars of, and if Tom Brady wins, what would this be, his fourth Super Bowl? If he does win it. Yeah, I mean, I just think, and I think that I think he'll Joe Namath the thing. You know what I'm saying? If he plays good enough to help them win, as long as, and that's the floor, not the ceiling. But if he plays well enough and they win, I think that the odds have to be, for Tom Brady. If Seattle wins, I think it could be one of three things: Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, or a defensive player having a big game. Maybe intercepting for a touchdown or something like that.
Gotcha. Sharona, I like as always, can't thank you enough. We mentioned all these outlets that you're a part of. So tell us best way to get in contact with you via social media.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. As you mentioned, I'm an NFL reporter, official NFL reporter for NFL Female. I also write for Pro Player Insiders, which is a fabulous website. Both websites, I'm very proud to be a part of both of them. And I co-host the Tuesday night show with my girl Sonia Greenfield, the Zone Blitz, and my radio show's getting ready to come back. So stay tuned for some news about that.
Oh, okay. We'll keep that
exciting.
One under wraps. We'll keep it under wraps. Sharona, as always, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And that was Sports by Sharona. And we're back with a taped interview with our friend Sharona from Tuesday night. Always lovely to have her around. The key nuggets that were in that interview, there was a mention of her radio shows coming back, because I know she does a lot with Google Hangout, so we shall wait to hear. With that, we're going to have a quick break. And we're going to play our Super Bowl promo for what's happening, I guess, this Sunday for I think it's the biggest event around. So we're going to play, we're going to go to a break. We'll play a promo. You'll hear me talk one more time. And then the next voice after that you'll hear is the Paul Allen of the Happy Hour Network, Lee Vowell. I just wanted to give you a quick update on game day snacks. I don't know what type of food you're getting this weekend. Like I said, it's the biggest event of the year, but you got to get ready with the super snacks for Sunday. It's the peak day for many popular snacks and junk food. Last year, Super Bowl Sunday was the biggest pizza day of the year. It's up 67% from average. It was also the second biggest beer day, up 90% right after July 4th. And it's also the biggest day of the year for tortilla chips, up 200% from average. And wings, 327%. I'm getting hungry already. Pizza and beer go together like peanut butter and jelly. You know, just the overall consumption of pizza and beer over the course of this past year, 2014, was correlated at 0.85. That's super high. If you're eating pizza, odds are you're also drinking beer. Who's eating and drinking what? Men drank 144%, almost two and a half times as much beer as women. But women drank 25% more wine than men. Men ate 15% more pizza and 37% more wings. Although 20-somethings have a bad rap for binge drinking, people in the 21 to 30 age range drank 18% less beer than people 31 to 60. So what does that mean? The older you are, the less pizza you eat. People over 70, Mr. Hicks, I hope you're out here listening, eat 61% less pizza than people 18 to 20. Do winners drink more than losers? Last year in Seattle, those folks drank 12% more beer than the people in Denver. But looking at the year before, the trend doesn't hold. The losers, San Francisco, drank 6% more than the winners in Baltimore. Those are just some game day snacks. These are just blogs and nuggets that you can find on Late Night Parent. We're going to play our promo, and then we'll come back with Mr. Paul Allen himself.
Hey, Todd, did you know there was a Super Bowl preview on the Happy Hour Network?